Hey, speaking of sin, Guilty Gear news. The reason this whole podcast got delayed. Let's look at the. I don't actually have the trailer up with me right now. Sin trailer. So, where is it? There it is. Announcement trailer. Why was it so low on the search results? Okay, so thankfully for this announcement, ArcSys did not beat around the bush with us. One of the most frustrating things being into Japanese games is when they say, we're going to have a live stream. And you're like, oh boy, they're going to announce something. And then they spend an hour just messing around, just farting around, playing quiz games and stuff like that. And there's no trailers and nothing. And then you just wasted all your time. And it was in Japan time zone. So you were up until like 4 a.m. And there was nothing. Nothing at all. And it happens so often with Japanese devs. Thankfully, they did this with IGN, and IGN just, all it was just, hey guys, I'm IGN guy. I'm at the desk with these two guys from ArcSys. Roll the trailer. Thank God. Now, I did get really excited. I got really hyped. Like 10 seconds before it started. And then I had to like calm myself and I had to say, no, Taigen. It's gonna be Sin. Or Asuka. That's how I temper my expectations. I try to control my expectations in everything so that I'm not disappointed. I say, okay, realistically, it's gonna be Sin. Or maybe Asuka, or one of them. And then the voice came in and I go, oh yeah, okay, it's Sin. And I wasn't really disappointed. I did not play Sin in Exerd. I know he was very popular. He's very well liked. So I'm glad that those people got him back. And the trailer, if we just, I'll just fucking have that playing while I'm talking, so I can just kind of keep watching it. So everyone knew he was going to be back at some point in season 2 because he's in the season 2 story mode. He's right there. He has a new character model and everything. So obviously, yeah, he's going to be in the game. But like when? And it's just kind of one of these, I guess it's another reason I didn't find it particularly exciting, because it's like, if it was someone really out of the blue, if it was Order Soul or something, or fucking Cliff's Zombie or something like that, then that would be like, what? This was like more of an inevitability. That being said, he looks good. And from what it seems, he looks relatively intact. So one thing to understand about Sin is that there was a couple challenges that I knew they were going to have with adapting him to Strive. And that is that his gameplay, his moveset in Exerd has there's some significant overlap with him and Nagoriyuki in Strive. So essentially, Sin's moveset is kind of like, because he's Kai's son, he lifts a lot from Kai. He's obviously got like a kind of longer ranged weapon. He's got the flag. He has a DP. He has like a stun dipper type move where he kind of slides forward and does an attack. He has essentially a greed sever in. Well, that's one of the things that they changed. But it's sort of like, it's technically a different move. In Exerd, it's Bull Bash, and in this game, it's Hoof Stomp or something like that. But he has an overhead. He's got a big overhead swing move. He's got, what else? He doesn't have a projectile, but he does have his like kind of longer range kind of jab move in a Beak Driver. And yeah, he's kind of got everything, pretty much everything besides the projectile. He's sort of got the basics, the Kai basics. He's even got to ride the lightning. And in the previous game, he also had like a projectile super. Now he has Tyrant Rave, which is neat. And I think it kind of ties into, because he was raised by Soul. So okay, he's taking some of Soul's techniques now. I always love that. I think it's so cool how like Rock Howard in the SNK Fighters has like a mixture of Geese and Harry's. Sorry, Harry Togard. Geese and Terry's techniques, like that's super cool. Sin is looks like he's kind of moving the same way because he's part gear. The part that is difficult to basically the spice, the sauce of Sin in Exert is that he has an extra meter, the calorie meter, the meat meter, and essentially when he uses his special moves, he can cancel his special moves into other specials. So he can combo his special moves together. And for some of them, I think really just Beak Driver, he can like enhance it at the cost of his calorie gauge. So essentially he can do all these crazy special to special cancels, but only if he spends his calories on it. And then he has a special move where he eats some food and then he refills some of his calorie bar. Now, in Strive, Nagaryuki basically does the same thing, except his, instead of like, it's a very semantic difference. Nago doesn't have a bar that drains. He basically has an overheat mechanic, or the more that he uses his special moves, the higher his blood rage meter gets, and then he's punished by just not being able to use his special moves at all once he's in blood rage. Sin just like bottoms out and he can't he gets hungry. And can he not use any of his specials? I actually forget if he can even use his specials when he's hungry. But that's basically it. So I was like, okay, so how are they gonna adapt him? If Sin reaches 0 calories when he will be forced into a hungry animation for 95 frames after the special attack finishes recovering. Okay. So wait, what? Faust's chocolate and donuts will give Sin 500 calories? That's so funny. That's cute. I didn't know that. What are they saying? So I was like, okay, obviously they need to change him in some sort of way because it just doesn't make sense to have two characters with basically the same mechanic at their core. So that's essentially what they've done. They've reworked Sin's kit so that instead of having this calorie system, he has a new stamina system. And he doesn't do special to special cancels anymore. What he has are basically, from the looks of it, every single special move he has a unique follow-up that he can do. And there's like an extra like dash cancel that he can also do. Basically, every special move he can do, like, its unique follow-up or a universal, like, follow-up where he dashes out of it afterwards. He can do that. He can do that for all of them. And that is at the cost of essentially he has this stamina meter with 3 bars, and he can spend a bar to do one of the follow-ups, and he can do one of the follow-ups into the other follow-ups. So from the looks of it, it was like, I think, they didn't exactly explain the intricacies, but basically you can at least do like the additional hit, like the additional attack, and then the dash at the cost of a bar of stamina for each of those. So that to me seems pretty reasonable if you're going to change him. Honestly, most of his moveset is actually very intact. The only things he lost 3 special moves. One is the eating special move, obviously, because it didn't have the mechanic anymore. The second is his leap move, which makes sense. Like, if you told me Sin was coming back, I was already expecting the leap to be gone, just because, like, Strive has a much smaller screen space. Excuse me. The overall like size of the stage. This was sort of the concession, is that the individual like stages are smaller, but obviously there's the screen transitions and stuff like that. So sort of a lot of these like big half-screen moves, sort of, it makes sense to kind of take a lot of them out, just because like it essentially becomes, hey, like Nago's spin, his little goofy spin move that everyone likes fighting against because it's so fun when he just decides that he can skip neutral. Basically, like, yeah, leap seems to me like if it was implemented in this game at all like it was in Xrd, it's just like a neutral skip move, and I don't know if they really need him to have that. And then also, like, he has this air special that's, from what I can tell, is pretty much just combo filler. Sure, you don't really need that. The things that he lost, either like they made sense or to me don't seem like I doubt anyone is really like, oh, he lost. What is this thing called? He lost Vulture Seas. Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to be losing sleep over that. How they did actually keep the meat eating. They kept him eating the mechanic of him eating food, but now it's, I think, his taunt. And they actually said in this live stream, they didn't go into it. They were intentionally vague. So he has a couple different food items that he'll take out and chomp down on. And they give him different effects depending on which food he gets. So, like, hang on. There is actually a dust loop page for him already. And from, like, just observation of the trailer, people have already been able to figure out some of his, like, some of the effects. Oh, it's a half circle motion. Weird, it's not a taunt. Okay, I thought it was a taunt. It's a half circle back punch. Interesting. Grants a random effect on use. He'll eat a random food item, conferring different effects with a visually... it'll be a different color. So there's 5 of them at least. We don't know all 5 of them yet. But we know that the ice cream gives you 10% tension, and the lizard gives 5% of your health back. So, interesting. If there's at least 5 of them, it looks like... I don't know, that could be... that's cool. That's like fun, goofy stuff. I like that. And it's called... What's it called? Still Growing? Yeah, because... So his move in Xrd is... Oh yeah, it's the same thing, Still Growing. So... that's fun. I like that. That seems like something fun you can do on Oki, is like, let me get a little buff or something like that. Honestly, he looks really cool. He looks very straightforward, which I'm cool with. It's been it's funny because the stream chat. I don't know why I was looking at the stream chat. First mistake, because they just hate everything. They just people are just never happy. Talking to he looks it's another Rushdown character. There's like, if you actually look at the DLC characters, has there been a single true Rushdown character yet? Not really. Gold Lewis, no. Jacko, no. Happy Chaos, no. You can sort of play him Rushdown, but not a dedicated Rushdown character. Baiken, no. She's more of like a mid-range, kind of neutral character. Testament, no. Bridget, not really. No. Sin is like the first, like, it's fine to have a mix of straightforward characters that just kind of want to run at you and do stuff. Another fun thing that I noticed is there's been a design mandate in Strive. Take out the grounded DPs. Take them out. When I say grounded, I mean DPs that don't leave the ground. Because it happened to Bridget, and now Sin is the second character to have it happen to him. So, both are characters who had DPs that would not lift them up into the air. They just did them on the ground. And I don't know exactly how good Sin's what's it called, Hawkbaker, that's a funny name, how good that is. Seems all right at least, but Bridget's starship, her DP by +R, was unironically the best reversal in the game, which is funny because she's also usually considered one of the worst characters in the game. I mean, in a game with no truly bad characters, she's considered like a lower tier character. When so basically, for Bridget's DP starship, it's the one where she twirls her yo-yos around her. The reason it's so good is because, well, so number one, it's invincible on like frame 1, I'm pretty sure. So that's already good, but hey, that's like every DP in the game. 2, it doesn't leave the ground, and that's huge because it means that she can't be punished while she's falling. Usually a DP you'll be in counter hit state on the way down. She doesn't have that. 3, on top, basically the move is just impossible to punish. Because not only is it not airborne, 3, it does a weird, unconventional amount of block stun. So, like, the amount of block stun a move does in Guilty Gear is determined by its attack level. So, like, the higher attack level moves will keep you blocking in like, a block stun animation for longer. For some reason, Bridget's DP in +R does not do that. It's like a weird amount of block stun. And she can FRC the end of it to make it safe. Entirely safe. So not only is it, like, weird to punish, because it's like a weird timing of when you can actually act. If she has 25 meters, she can just get out of it completely free. And this is also the same game where she is one of only 2 characters who can delay their wake up. Yeah, Bridget, this is something they took out for Strive, which, thank you. Bridget can, as she's waking up, she can, like, hold 2 buttons, and she'll place a yo-yo before she stands up. And it delays her wake up. Sin, sort of similar deal where Hawkbaker and Exerd he just stabs his flag into the ground and just a big geyser of energy comes out. Big Captain Corridor type move. And in Strive, that has also been changed. So Bridget had hers changed to basically just be kind of a regular old DP. It seems decent from what I've seen. Lifts her into the air, importantly. Sin's, same deal. I actually really like the animation where he jumps up with the flag, and then if he, like, hits, he plants it, he, like, crashes down to the ground and plants it. I think that's cool. A lot of the stuff he does looks cool. It seems like a lot of the things that I know that's a very dumb statement. It seems like there's a lot of situations where he knocks the opponent away, and then he can follow up by just, like, dashing after them using that follow-up. So he looks overall like a pretty easy to pick up character who he's got a high-low mix-up. He kind of wants to rush you down. He has decent range on his normals. And then his combos have sort of a bit of a free-flowing sort of element where you can kind of follow up on them by, like, dashing up after you hit them, or like, I'm sure there's some crazy combo stuff you can do, and especially, of course, with if you want to Roman cancel some stuff. He still has that standing low. And it looks like he has a bit of I noticed this in, like, the stream when they played a few couple matches. He has, like, a dive kick type move. That looked like his JD or something like that. Even his overdrives, even his supers have follow-ups on them. he still has Ride the Lightning, or RTL, and he can still direct it, which I think is nice. I guess it has less use now, maybe, because it has because of wall break. I feel like RTL was usually used in like the corner because you could like kind of angle it upwards, send them a little higher, and then you just get longer air combos that way. Or you can drop down and then they'll fall and you can keep comboing them, something like that. Don't know how useful it is here, and I felt really bad for... the presentation was a little difficult to watch, and I hope that this doesn't sound mean, because the dude really tried his best, but when they went to the his move set explanation, they got the guy from Arxis who didn't clearly spoke English. His grasp on English was a lot shakier than the other guy who was kind of helping him out, and God bless him, he was really going for it, and honestly he wasn't even bad. It was just there was a point where I just want the information, and I'm like, can you just open the command list? Just open the command list. I'm like, there was some friction, I think. Good on him. He made a really good effort, and it was very cool, and I'm sure it was very intimidating. However, as a viewer, it was like, okay, all right. Very slowly talking through this and kind of mumbling, and some words are kind of hard to understand. I'm like, okay, I respect it. He was there was a moment where the IGN guy asks, so what's the purpose of, because I don't think the IGN dude had played Exerd, and he goes, what's the purpose of being able to change the direction of RTL? And the presenter's like, I don't know. It's he just doesn't have an answer, or he doesn't know how to explain it. I was like, okay. I'm sure there'll be some kind of use, but we don't know it yet. However, he does have some follow-ups that he can do after, one particular, I think each super has a follow-up. So he can do kind of an extra burst that does huge damage at the end of RTL. He can do this extra burst of gear energy around him. And apparently that just eats up all of your meter. It doesn't cost 100 meter, but you need over 50%, and if you use it, you will expend whatever else you had. You need at least over 50%, and you'll spend everything. I don't know if it's the more meter you have, the more damage it does. If it's something like that, he's literally it's Sin is literally expelling all of his tension to do this big burst kind of thing. Sort of a neat idea. I don't know how I feel about even more free damage being added to this game. Don't know if you would consider it free, but hey, because you're probably going to wall break with it. And then the other one is his Tyrant Rave, which is neat. So there is this little detail that kind of got glossed over, because I don't think the IGN dude really knew this little thing. So okay, so the way that Sin's Tyrant Rave works is he does this big explosion. He kind of casts this big explosion on the enemy, and it'll kind of pop them up. And then that's the main part of the super. There is a follow-up that you can do, which I think is free, but the thing is that it's timing based. It's kind of like Jam's super, where you have to time when she does the follow-up kick. So basically, you pop them into the air, and then as they're falling, Sin will just do a big ol' stab with his flag. And that'll do a bunch of extra damage. And the Arxis guy mentioned that when he says something, he uses the word clean hit. And that piqued my interest, and I don't think the IGN guy knew what he was talking about, so he didn't ask. But essentially, clean hits are a mechanic that Soul uses in pretty sure every game. It's weird because there's never been an indicator for it, but he does have it in at least in XX. He's got it in Exert, right? Clean. Does he have it? Hang on. Soul, bad guy, clean hit. Clean hit. He has it in ACR. I think he has it in Strive as well. And basically, so basically, clean hit, if you've ever heard of a sweet spot in Smash or something like that, it's basically that, but not sort of... I don't know how it works in any other game. No one ever talks about how it works. I only know how it works in Plus R, so I'll talk about it there. So basically, a lot of Soul special moves have what are called a clean hit property to them, which is that if they hit the opponent at a certain spot, not for the move, but on the opponent, like every opponent has like a clean hit zone that they can be hit on, like an extra hitbox, or sorry, hurtbox, it will deal a clean hit version of the move. And that basically gives a much stronger version, usually like more damage, higher untech time, so you get more combo potential off of it. It's stuff like that. No one ever talks about it. I don't know why. There's only an indicator for it in like Plus R. From what I can tell, in Strive, it also exists. And so when I hear, obviously, because does GG Strive have a clean hit mechanic? Soul has it on Volcanic Viper. Okay, yeah, so he does have it on at least Volcanic Viper. When I hear the presenter say DP, and I know that this is Sin, and he's literally using one, like an adaptation of one of Soul's moves. Yep, Strive has clean hits. An adaptation of one of Soul's moves, and I hear him say clean hit. I'm like, oh, does Sin have clean hit properties on at least this super? Does it work like Soul does? Like, if you hit the opponent at a specific, like, area, they'll take, like, extra high damage or something like that? Was not expanded upon. Does it apply on his special moves or something like that? I have no idea. No clue. I really wish the host had asked him about that, but I don't think he knew about that mechanic. So, let's see, he's out on the 24th, so that's in, like, 3 days. So I imagine that there'll be some extra details and, like, the starter guide's gonna be out, maybe even tomorrow. So that's cool. Honestly, I really don't have anything bad to say. He seems pretty intact. And I think for the Sin enjoyers... That's gonna be. He's still got like all the same basic functions. Just his core mechanic has sort of been switched around. But honestly, as someone who does not play Sin in Exert, and maybe I'm like, there is already. Here's where I can at least take the concession is that if you just really liked the special to special canceling, Nago is already in this game. He's been in the roster forever, and he's really strong. You could just do that with him. There's like a similar kind of resource management game to Nago that you can enjoy with him if you just really like that. If you weren't like married to that concept, and you just really like Sin's moveset and how he plays, he's still got pretty much everything. Some differences, of course. The new, like, overhead special is not like a half-screen bonk special like Bull Bash is, where you get a ridiculous combo on counter hits. One of the scariest starters in Exerd, counter hit Bull Bash. So, will I play him? I don't know. One of the nice things about him being this character, about him being the second character is that he doesn't get his own stage. That means that the next two characters are going to have their own stages, and if one of them's Slayer, we get another, hopefully like a cool one like Villa Vampire, like his mansion from Exerd, or something like that, or the castle from XX. So, ooh, my neck. This will be another blue-eyed, blonde character, another Guilty Gear Aryan. He looks good. I think the Sin players from Exerd are going to. I think they're going to dig him. I honestly think so. So congrats. Wasn't RoboKai? I got so scared because before the announcement, like the morning of, the ArcSys Twitter tweeted out like a pixel art thing of Haehyun, and I was like, don't make it Haehyun. Of characters that I think need to come back, I like Haehyun. I think she's neat. But like, I don't know if she needs to come back. If this game goes on for like 7 years and gets like 1 million seasons of DLC, fine. But like, Haehyun, I think, is more cool just for her gameplay, more so than her as like a whole package character. At least for me. She has a neat concept. I like the idea that she's like a small girl in a big old man mech. That's fun. But a lot of people don't even realize that that's the case because she's just in the mech most of the time. So did people just think, oh, just a big old man? It's the martial artist character. And yeah, I was glad. I was like preparing a little bit in the back of my mind, but I'm like, they're not going to tweet out literally the character the morning of. Like, it's not going to happen. Yeah, so Sin is a character who a lot of people argue probably should have been in the game from the base roster. I was really expecting him to be in the base roster, but I guess not. Guess not. But hey, he's back. He's back, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say on that. There's really not a whole lot of mechanical depth. It's a straightforward character. So there's that. I don't know if I'll necessarily play him. I might try him out, but I doubt that I'll move off of Testament, because Testament is just really damn fun.